Let's take a look at their official data taken from NASA's website, the Great American Eclipse Path. NASA also provides external link for more details. This is a picture that destroys globe model if you understand what it means. First, let's find out the eclipse duration that began at the far west and ended at the far east. We're not looking for eclipse beginning and ending in one location, as there are so many locations. What we're looking is the beginning and ending of the whole eclipse happened on that day. You just click the path and they give you complete information. See the start of partial eclipse, it's 1555 UTC. Then the end of partial eclipse, 2055 UTC. Now we have credible data that total eclipse duration is 5 hours. Secondly, how far is that eclipse length? Take a look at the longitude. It started at 171.2 degree west and ended at 27.4 degree west. The eclipse length longitude is 143.7 degrees. Do you realize how far is 143.7 degrees in a globe? Let's copy-paste some coordinates from the eclipse site to Google Maps to measure the approximate distance. It's around 40,000 kilometers. Now, apply it to the globe map. See, the eclipse distance, 143.7 degrees, is already 40% of the Earth's circumference. So, within 5 hours of eclipse, out of 24 hours a day, or around 20% of the day, somehow, miraculously, the shadow length covers 40% of the globe. Let's make a scale model now to understand that the eclipse length of 143.7 degrees is mathematically and geometrically impossible. We've made scale model of the eclipse using AutoCAD. In this video, I'm collaborating with many people from Flat Earth 101 community. You have seen the work of Najwa and Anggoraji specially made for you. For this AutoCAD, I want to make it as precise as possible, so I collaborate with people from the community again, this time with Tejo. He is a successful architect who is very familiar with AutoCAD. And he's not alone. People in his office also help us to make this model. They are flat earthers too. These are the assumptions I took from Mainstream Science database. We made this model based on that official data at that particular date and that particular spot as referred by NASA. Let's start with the Earth. Of course we can make it pretty with 3D Earth, but that's not our objective now. It's not about beauty, it's about precision. The Earth radius and diameter are precise according to heliocentric data. These 5 lines represent the Earth's rotation for 5 hours, the eclipse duration. Each line represents 15 degrees. 5 lines equal to 75 degrees. The 0 point represents the first second of the eclipse. The Earth rotates anticlockwise from west to east. So if you are standing over here at 0 point, in 5 hours you will be over there. Now let's go to the Moon. It's 30 Earth diameters away. The Earth is a small circle over here, and the Moon is over there. Let's zoom in. This is the Moon at 0 point when the first second of partial eclipse started. These 5 moons represent its movements every hour, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. This is the Moon's radius and diameter according to standard heliocentric. This is the Moon's traveling distance every hour. Within 5 hours, it travels 18,415 kilometers. That's the linear speed. But the orbit is so big, 29.5 days, and 5 hours means almost nothing. So if you draw a line from the Moon's axis to the Earth's axis, this 18,415 kilometers is only 2.55 degrees angular speed on Earth. It's hard to see at this true scale. Let's split it into 2 screens, the Moon on your left side, the Earth on your right side. This is the 0 point when the first partial eclipse happened. The line goes to 0 point on Earth. In 5 hours, the Moon will be over there. If you're standing on Earth over here, 5 hours later, you will rotate from west to east and you'll be over here. You will see the Moon is setting to the west due to Earth's rotation. Exactly like you've seen at Mooncalc, you add time, the Moon goes to the west. And the elevation angle is subtracted from 90 degrees to around 75 degrees in 1 hour. For 5 hours, it would be around 18 degrees near the horizon, almost setting. This is the proof that it's the angular speed that applies. What about the linear speed? After 5 hours, the Moon's position is over here. We draw straight linear lines from the Moon. Where do the lines fall on Earth? Man, it's far outside the Earth. Theoretically, linear speed is wrong. After 5 hours, you will see the moon is setting to the west. In reality, you don't see the moon is over here, like it's setting to your east. The moon is over there, near the horizon, setting in the west. The funny thing is, even though the moon is over here, setting in the east, the shadow will fall outside the Earth. If you use angular speed, eclipse shadow moves from east to west, the opposite of reality. If you are using linear speed, the moon sets in the east, and the shadow falls outside the Earth after a few hours. Any which way, they're wrong. It really doesn't work on the globe model. What about the shadow speed? We've been through this. Their own science says the eclipse shadow speed is the same as the moon speed itself. Look once again at their eclipse shadow speed. The shadow is never faster than the moon speed.
The shadow knows.
Poor globe model. Let's be generous to them. Give the globe model a generous discount. Let's start not from 90-degree elevation, but instead from 0 degree like you have solar eclipse at 6 a.m. in the morning. You can't even see the sun at horizon level. Then you have 5 hours eclipse. And still, if using linear speed, the shadow goes outside the Earth. Do you know why it fails? Because you can't get 5 hours eclipse on the globe model. The moon would travel 18,415 kilometers, while the Earth's diameter is only 12,742 kilometers. That would make the moon half Earth outside the Earth. This is real fantasy, folks. Congratulations. Based on their official data, you just found a fatal error on the globe model.
What are moon craters? Well, first of all, you have to understand that the moon is plasma, noble gases. So that would explain what your craters in the moon are. Those craters happen during creation. When God made the moon is when those craters appeared. That's why it's always been the same craters on the moon since the invention of the telescope. There's not one new crater up there. All these years, it's all the same craters because they were all formed during the creation of the moon. And the craters are a result of gas entrapment, which means when the moon was being created, the gas entrapment bubbles would burst and cause a crater after they burst. Now, for example, you see this crater here? And you see this crater here, and this crater here, and this crater here. You notice how they have that little tiny dot right in the center of them? That is where the bubble burst and receded back down into itself, forming the crater. Now, for example, check out this picture of gas entrapment bubbles in epoxy. Now, notice this gas bubble here has that identical little dot in it. And this gas bubble here has the same little dot in it. Not every single one of them do, but several of them do. Just like in the moon, not all the craters have that little dot, but a lot of them do. Now, let's compare the gas bubble craters in the epoxy with the gas bubble craters in the moon. As you can see, they are identical. So, like I said before, being that the moon is made of plasma, noble gases, that would explain why you have these gas entrapment bubbles that have burst and left craters. And then again, I could be just totally wrong, but you ask a question and that's my theory on it. And like I said before, since the invention of the telescope, there are no new craters on the moon. There's not been one new crater on the moon since we've been able to see the craters on the moon. And I've looked at the moon through telescopes and cameras for hours and hours and hours, and never have I seen a asteroid or a so-called meteor hit the moon and leave a new crater. So that leaves the funny question of asking yourself, well, how did all these craters form from asteroids and meteors, and then all of a sudden in all of our lifetime, they just stop hitting the moon, stop making craters? So, now if you believe in the theory that the moon is a big rock up in space with moon dust, and that asteroids and meteors made these craters and hit this solid rock all the time, well, you would be looking up into the sky, and this is what you would be seeing all the time. Now, this is computer generated, but I'm just showing you, if you believe this theory, this is what you would be seeing with your own eyes all the time. But anyways, thanks for watching, and God bless.
Well, now, one thing, you have a theory about the moon, and we expect to be able to get observable facts about the moon fairly soon. What is your theory?
Well, it is by now rather more than a theory. 10 or 11 years ago, I stated to various scientists that the moon is not a piece of rock, but it is a plasma phenomenon, a cosmic plasma, and that this fact will eventually be confirmed. I made certain predictions which were already confirmed in 1958, and the situation now is coming close to a complete confirmation.
What will be the result if you're proved to be correct in your theories?
The result will be profound and decisive, because it will give proof that a complete reinvestigation of the laws of nature is necessary. Because if the moon is a plasma, no man will ever land on it. The soft landing attempts will all fail. That means that the mass of the moon is less, far less, than is currently assumed. It's in a different state of energy, and it has far less mass. That means there is no more explanation for the tides. If the moon, for example, had only 1,000th part of its current mass, then the tides would only be 2 inches high, and the conventional theories instead of sometimes 14 feet. And that means that if it is proved that the moon is a plasma, then all gravitational theories are out, and a new concept of the cosmos and of its laws has to be evolved.
Aren't you being a bit adventurous, though, because you know we're going to be able to test out your theories on the moon fairly soon?
Well, not anymore. 11 years ago, of course, it was rather taking a risk. I was considered a lunatic, of course. But by now, the evidence, accumulated evidence, is already so much in my favor that I'm not taking any risks anymore. On the contrary, there is scientific views expressed all over the world now that the moon seems to be of a quite different nature of what was assumed.